All right, so we got some interesting news that dropped the other day in Rolling Stone. It looks like Alex Jones is illegally spying on his ex-wife and his current wife. Now, he's also in the news yet again because the second defamation trial over his Sandy Hook commentary is currently ongoing. By the way, if you guys are interested in following every second of it or just seeing some, highlights and clips of it, they're on the Law and Crime YouTube channel. They're basically like live streaming it as much as they can, and they're also, at the end of the day, they clip out some of the best moments and they post them. So I'm probably going to follow this case as well, just like I followed the first one. This one is a little more consequential because they don't have, I think this is in Connecticut, and they don't have the same sort of caps on the amount of money that he has to pay out like Texas did. Texas has hard caps on the amount in damages that you can, that somebody has to pay out, and in Connecticut that doesn't exist. So in many ways he's facing an even harder case over here in Connecticut. But the other thing I don't know is, I know he didn't comply with the discovery process, which is why he lost by default in the previous case. I don't know if that's also the case with this Connecticut case. Like, was the discovery process different, and did he comply with this discovery process? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. So, again, you could get way more information on this if you just watch the Law and Crime YouTube channel and see what's going on with this case specifically. But this came out the day before that trial started. The conspiracy theorist oversaw a, quote, spy ring, which included an ex-Blackwater mercenary to covertly surveil those closest to him. Jesus, you're hiring Blackwater goons to spy on your loved ones? That is dark, man. For a guy who continually complains he's being secretly surveilled, Alex Jones sure does a lot of spying. In recent years, the conspiracy theorist has used a network of informers and spies to covertly surveil his ex-wife, and he used a similar arrangement to track his current spouse, according to texts on Jones' phone described to Rolling Stone by multiple sources. In some instances, texts were read aloud to Rolling Stone, including month, year, and time. The text described extensive surveillance during his multi-year custody battle with his ex-wife, Kelly Jones, including information on her activities and whereabouts. 3 people familiar with the matter tell Rolling Stone. One of the sources says the pundit's ex-wife was being monitored by a ragtag spy ring of human intelligence. Quote, Alex is obsessed with me, has had me followed for years, has done everything to infringe on my liberties and personal freedom to impose himself into my life, Kelly Jones said. My life is a gauntlet of waiting for his next nefarious or disingenuous or overtly threatening move. I'm not surprised to find out that he's engaged in this activity. I would really like to find out the extent to which this has occurred, and if it's legal. According to another of the sources, the texts reveal Alex Jones' snooping habits extends his current marriage. Jones' phone, the source said, indicated he has been tracking his current wife, Erica Wolf Jones, until 2020, and possibly beyond. The texts reveal Alex Jones had enlisted Tim Enlow, a former Blackwater mercenary, on his security detail to track his wife. In the text, Alex Jones would repeatedly check in for updates on Wolf Jones' location. Enlow's responses included screenshots of a GPS phone app that he said was tracking her car, as well as Enlow's own descriptions of her physical location, according to the source. Wolf Jones did not respond to a request for comment, including on whether she was aware Enlow was relaying her whereabouts to her husband. Alex Jones has frequently criticized government surveillance across a series of conspiracy theories espoused by the TV host in the wake of the 9/11 attacks. All right, let me pause here for a second. It is not a conspiracy to say the federal government is spying on everybody. That's what the Patriot Act is. That's what the NSA spying is. If you remember, the Edward Snowden story detailed, and it was extreme detail, that laid out, here's what they're doing, here's how they're spying, here's how it's totally warrantless, here's how the FISA court is a joke, it's just a rubber stamp. And by the way, since I am directly familiar with it, I will tell you the nuances of it. So for example, you had our intelligence agencies, people would spy directly on their love interests. And it was so common that they had a phrase for it, love int, short for love intelligence. And again, the whistle was blown on all this. So that's a rare area where Alex Jones was 100% correct to criticize it. Illegal, unconstitutional, warrantless spying, where they do metadata collection. The NSA does metadata collection on everybody in the fucking country. And if you think they're only following the most rigorous standards and they're only going after terrorists, well, I have a fucking bridge to sell you, if you believe that. So Alex was correct to criticize that. He is correct to criticize that. But as you can see here, in his private life, in his personal life, he doesn't have a principled stance against fucking spying. Spying on his ex-wife and his current wife. By the way, hallmark of a massively insecure person here. You know, and look, I'm not... Certainly when I was like a teenager and you're on Facebook and you're way too wrapped up in your own social life and your own bullshit, does everybody... To this day, I'm sure, well, you know, most people snoop around on their fucking Facebook or their Instagram or whatever and, oh, what's my ex up to? Is my ex dating somebody new? Let me sort of stalk their page. That's a certain form of, like, socially acceptable following of interests, right? But what we're talking about here is you hired an ex-Blackwater mercenary to what very well may be illegally spy on your ex-wife and your current wife, tracking the fucking car. That's a degree above and beyond any common sense or reason. And he doesn't give a fuck. As long... This is a great point, too. As long as it's not the government taking away somebody's rights and freedoms, then he's okay with it. And, you know, for a long time, he called himself a libertarian. I don't know if he still does. But this is a problem with libertarian thought in the first place, is that they understand that the government can be incredibly abusive and can take away rights. But they never think like, hey, corporations sort of do that too. They don't care when a corporation does it. Like anarcho-capitalists, for example, they think, oh, the government is oppressive in every way, shape, and form. But it's not like they think your boss is oppressive. The fact that you're a grown-ass person and your boss is telling you, with zero input from you, now you have to do X, Y, and Z, they say, oh, it's a voluntary interaction because you agreed when you signed up for the job. Agreed to do what? Be basically a pseudo-slave in the year 2022? There can be oppression coming from corporate power in the same way it can come from the government, and there can be oppression that occurs in relationships like this. I mean, this is crazy what we're talking about here. So, and by the way, this is, again, because of Alex Jones' lawyer accidentally sending his texts to the plaintiff's lawyer in the last civil case, which Alex Jones lost. And it makes you wonder, hey, is that lawyer actually low-key, sort of like a mole, and didn't want Alex Jones to win? That's just a conspiracy theory, but it's kind of crazy how this unfolded. In 2005, he released a documentary, Martial Law 9/11, Rise of the Police State, a 9/11 conspiracy screed, which warns that the Constitution has been shredded and America is now a police state. When the COVID pandemic began, Jones Infowars warned that public health measures to monitor the disease represented a Chi-Com-style panopticon control grid to monitor every citizen under the guise of tracking the coronavirus infection spread. During a trial in early August, Jones' legal defense team apparently accidentally sent a digital copy of the client's cell phone to the plaintiff's attorney, Mark Bankston. Bankston, who represented parents of the victims of the Sandy Hook school shooting, said the records included Jones' phone calls and text messages going back years. Due to Jones' involvement with the January 6th Capitol insurrection, the House Select Committee investigating the attack asked Bankston to turn over the digital copies' contents. He complied. And while the messages reportedly did not yield much about Jones' connection to January 6th, oh, that's interesting, they have offered new, alarming details about the far-right radio host's personal conduct. In response to an email from Rolling Stone, Bankston wrote, I appreciate you reaching out, but we have no public comment at this time. A spokesman for the January 6th committee declined to comment on this story. The contents of the phones described to Rolling Stone echo other reports of Jones' marital behavior. Sometime in 2019, Jones hired a private investigator to follow Wolf Jones. That August, the private investigator called police to report Alex Jones' concerns that Wolf Jones may have been suicidal and intoxicated. Police arrested Wolf Jones and charged her with driving while intoxicated. She is still awaiting trial. Bankston claims that Alex Jones' text messages reveal instances of him invading his wife's privacy. The attorney said last month that Jones had shared an intimate photo of Wolf Jones with former Trump political advisor Roger Stone. Quote, I don't know if that was consensual, Bankston said of the exchange. And if it wasn't consensual, and Miss Wolf Jones should know about that. In a subsequent interview with Insider, Wolf Jones said she was unaware of the exchange and that she is upset that he took privilege to send the image to someone without my knowledge. Wow. All right, so really scummy shit, man. Really scummy shit. But I don't think we should really be surprised because it is Alex Jones. If you want to see me and Crystal Ball interview legends like Noam Chomsky, Cornel West, and more, subscribe to Crystal Kyle and Friends on Substack. $5 a month gets you the video version a day early. Remember, we take 0 ad dollars for this podcast. Or you can sign up on Substack for free and get the audio version a day later. Link in the video description box below.